Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Let me give my honor to the keynote speaker, Mrs. Helena Sisulu. It's a great honor for me to speak in your presence. I know you, but I've not met you, so it's a real honor for me to meet you today. And the Vice Chancellor, Professor Mandla Makanya in absentia, Professor Wakenga, nice to meet you, to know that a mathematician can be that passionate about the humanities and speak so well. And Professor Timosky, my mentor in the AHP and ACLS partnership. And then Professor Yanka and the team of African scholars who have been supporting me in the background. Let me say this, I don't need to say it, that it's really a great honor for me and a pleasure to stand before you and speak about gender terrains in African cinema. And I must say something about my two colleagues who are not here, because the joy would have been a lot fuller if they were here. But I will also speak on their behalf, because this triple birth of 3 books in the African Humanities series is a celebration for all of us who have been part of this. My job right now is to give you a sense of the trajectory of gender terrains in African cinema. I'll tell you that it spans nearly 14 years for this book to come about. And 14 years really is when I started falling in love with African cinema, because from my perspective in the continent, it was relatively a new area of research. And there is something about me that is fascinated about new things. So I thought I would take interest in this genre that was not to be found in the continent at the time. I found it in Europe. My love for African cinema grew as a graduate student when I was doing my graduate program in Rome. Strangely, African cinema then was to be found in the festivals in Europe, not in the continent, around the year 2000. So it was there that I pursued this cinema at festivals, and it was there that I met the filmmakers themselves who used to take their films at various European festivals, and I had the privilege to interact with them. Now, where did AHP and ACLS found me? ACLS found me in 2009. That was just 5 years after my PhD. So you can see I'm very much a lucky border person who gets it there, who gets there just at the border. I got on board in the very last year of when I qualified to benefit from the AHP fellowship. And I was very glad that I was part of those who were on the first group of people who were selected for the AHP. Now, in 2012 and 13, when I reached the height of work on my manuscript, I had the privilege of getting the Fulbright Fellowship. So I'm trying to give you a sense of the journey gender terrain made across the continents. It started from Africa, it developed in Europe, and it was fine-tuned in the USA when I was a Fulbright scholar. Those were days that I needed time off to focus on fine-tuning gender terrains in African cinema. Those were also days that I could get in contact with people who would have been extremely difficult for me to contact if I were in the continent, because I would not have had the necessary contact to approach the filmmakers that UNISA required. I contact so that, I could get clips from their movies to be included in the book. For whatever reason, everything seemed to be working so very well. But I'll tell you why perhaps things were working so well, because really the journey was not that easy. I want to tell my fellow colleagues who are in the audience, who are following my path. At this moment, as I speak to you, I have totally no complaints, because whatever length of gestation period gender terrain has taken to be born today, these were very, very good reasons. The long process has made me pass through a range of very kind hands, mentoring hands around the globe. And the entire experience has meant so much to me. I have published a number of books, as you've been told, but none of them has given me the experience that Gender Terrains has given. And like the keynote speaker said, it really felt like giving birth. And the experience was intense. Among the so many things I've learned, there is one that, I don't quit easy. That's one thing that I have learned. This book has tested my character, and it has made me realize I'm actually strong. At times people tell me I'm strong, but I know I am strong because Gender Terrains taught me that I am. There were times I thought I would give up, but once I reached a certain milestone, I knew I would never give up. And I'm happy that I did not. Initially, I had the temptation of giving. I actually not had the temptation. I did give my initial manuscript to a German publisher, and the publisher was quite enthusiastic, and apparently it looked so easy to have this thing published. And when the proposal from the AHP came that this is an African project and it will be a good idea to, move to the next level of having the series publication started, I withdrew the publication, and I'm very happy I did, because I will never have matured in my academic life as I have in this process. 2, I have also learned that quality in scholarship is not at all a solo dance. On the track of Gender Terrains in African cinema are the contributions of many, including my anonymous reviewers. I must at this point mention some people who have really been principal in sustaining me through this process. In the first place, I want to thank the ACLS and the Carnegie Fund that has set the AHP program in motion. I want to single out a couple of mentors here, and one of them is Professor Andrzej Timoski, the Director of the International Affairs, ACLS, Professor Sandra Benz, one of the key drivers of the AHP, Professor Yanka, the Associate Director of the AHP, and the team of scholars who have been working with him behind the scenes. But those behind the scenes I felt the energy of your support as you work behind the scenes. I have grown in scholarship since I joined the AHP 2009 and 2010 academic year as a senior lecturer. And there are so many things that have led to, greater success, And I don't know how to measure the place of the AHP in it, but I know the AHP plays a very important part in making me selected and identified, because this is part of my trajectory and what defines me in the academia. So I'm really grateful for that. My manuscript development editor, I want to tell you a brief story about this Professor Dr. Jacqueline Southern. I want to thank her, even in absentia, because she was most gentle in giving me the kindest of comments, even when she was challenging me to do the most daunting thing of reducing my nearly, it was over 500 pages manuscript to something like 160 as UNISA required. How will I do that? Well, I survived her, and I did it. It was at that point that I knew I will not fail this process, because I did what I thought was most difficult for me to achieve at the moment. She helped me to identify the paths that I could take to cut down. My problem was quantity, cutting down, not less, but having too much and reduce. So the whole sense of getting a gist out of a mass is what I developed through the processes of writing Gender Terrain. And she helped me take the radical and clear stance in what I wanted to do in following the stories of the 3 categories of female representation in African cinema. And then, of course, my anonymous reviewers, 3 of them in my case, very interesting, because at times their views were varying and at times they were converging. As all of you know, the process is. It was not always with excitement that I opened those mails. At times I really delayed the process because I had to psychologically prepare myself, since I did not know what to expect. But today I stand here really extremely delighted to have survived all of them too. Once they gave me a strong recommendation that, Gender Terrain was ready to be born, they really gave me a new lease of creative and intellectual energy. And I just felt that I will conceive again. So I really thank all of you for variously affirming me. And, I'm sure that the next process for me and also for my colleagues who are in this journey will be a lot less long, like mine has been. And finally, before I sit down, I want also to thank a set of people from UNISA with whom I've been communicating on a regular basis. They have been very, very special to me over this period of time. I want to start with Barbara, the AHP Secretariat. I could feel her support in our emphatic way of communicating and encouraging me through the process and celebrating. I could feel the vibes of her joy when the good news were coming. And I really thank you for that. This is really very much your joy, as it is mine, all of you at UNISA. I also thank Sergio, my development editor, the project editor, and who has been communicating very intensely with me and putting up with all the details. I didn't know actually that you were doing 3 publications at the same time. You are amazing. I thank you. And Ms. Bashoff, the publication assistant, the whole set of you in UNISA, I thank you for giving me the challenge. It is not easy to publish with you. I realize it's not easy because you have very high standards, which is good. So when this breakthrough has happened, I feel very, very happy and proud to be associated with you. Now, as I go down, I want to thank once more all my senior mentors in the African Humanities Fraternity for honoring us, all of us today, the 3 of us, for putting us on the course of scholarship in the African Humanities. that we are all very much part of. Indeed, in various ways, I want to say that I cannot help thanking God, who truly is the imperceptible mastermind behind the scenes, because he really has been weaving a mosaic of events, things happening at the time they did, and they all have worked so wonderfully to have us all celebrate this day. So I really thank you, and I want you to be very, very happy with us. Thank you.